Good morning, it's Brian. Welcome back to Forex and Faith. Glad you joined me again. I'm chatting this morning about hearing God's voice, and I got a cool, analogy or metaphor that I'm gonna use. And in my quiet time this morning, this is kind of what was bouncing around up in my head up in there. The topic of hearing God, how to hear God, how to hear Him better, how to become somebody who can hear Him regularly. And a lot of times I'll get a metaphor, an analogy, an image, a word picture in my head, and I'm going to use that in order to kind of build this, teaching metaphor. And today it has to do with day trading. So if you guys are interested in the markets at all, or interested in becoming a profitable trader, and or potentially interested in learning how to hear His voice better, then this one's for you. If you're only interested in one or the other, hopefully this video would still be helpful to you. But if you're interested in both of those topics, that'd be right up your alley. So let's start with how do you become a profitable trader? How do you trade profitably? And a couple of general thoughts. These are not specific things about how to set up your chart, etc. These are not specifics. These are generalities that we will utilize in the metaphor. So number one, in trading, you have to build a complete system. A lot of times I'll talk about this system being like a stool that you sit on, and this system has multiple legs. It's got a strategy, it's got risk management, it's got psychology, legs of this stool, and then it is tied together. These legs are tied together with discipline. So becoming a profitable trader involves building a personalized system. Number two, it involves growth and refinement. When you listen to people who have become profitable, typically when they talk about how long it took them, they're not talking about weeks or months. In almost every instance, it's years. I took 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or longer to become profitable. It is a very slow, refining process, and typically it's so slow because you're refining yourself. Yes, we're refining our strategy. Yes, we're back testing, but that's the easier part. The hard part is to refine your own psychology. So, point two, understand that this thing is going to take time. It does involve growth, and it does involve slow and steady improvement. Number three, it's less of a science and more of a discipline. So, when the light bulb goes off for you with regards to how to become a profitable trader, it's not this formula that some guru gave you that you found in a 4chan forum or whatever. It's not a formula that you can just copy. The markets are so unique every day. The markets are unique every day. And then it involves you, your personal growth, your personality, your schedule, your past, all the traumas you've been through. It involves you, which is why there can't be just some formula that you can copy. It's more about discipline, you building this system, and then you growing into the person, becoming the person that can stick to it. This discipline is so important. Number three, it's less of a science and more about discipline. Number four, position yourself correctly day after day. If you're trying to gain muscle in the weight room, or you're trying to lose weight on the scale, you need to do these consistent things every day. Same with day trading. Build this edge, build this strategy, and that's going to take some experiment. That's good. But we need to do these same things every day consistently so we can begin to figure out what's working and what's not. To use the diet analogy, if every single day you're changing your diet to something new, one day you're keto, the next day you're whole foods, the next day you're fasting, the next day you're doing this, you're going to be all over the place. Probably nothing's going to work. And if it does work, you're not going to know which one works because you've done all of them at the same time. Same with day trading. You need to pick a edge, a strategy, a system. You need to build this stool and then stick to it, and then begin to refine and begin to tweak it. And that refinement and that tweaking is done via journaling and back testing. Next, don't work on being perfect. Don't work on being perfect. Work on being 1% better today. There's a well-known YouTuber, influencer, trader, and I'm stealing this from him, Matt Gray, and his catchphrase, which I love, is, be 1% better today. And you can become better. 1% today. I'm going to get 1% better. You can do that through a loss if you allow the loss to grow you, to refine you. If you look at it, and study it, and talk about it, and journal it, and backtest it, and you implement things into your trading plan based on that mistake, and you can become better. For example, let's say yesterday I make a trade, I lose it, and then I revenge trade, and I lose that one. And then I size up and I revenge trade again. And so I lose that one. So now I'm on tilt. I'm not doing well. I can take that disastrous day and I can implement something for today that is going to allow me to learn from it and to grow from it. For example, a rule that says, one trade a day. That's it. That rule will limit you and make it impossible for you to revenge trade because you can only trade once. That's just an example. There are lots of mechanical things you could put in place. You can put apps on your phone. You could, tell your significant other to take your keyboard away. I mean, the list is endless of ways that you can help yourself not go on tilt by, doing concrete and constructive things today. And last kind of point, everybody's strategy is going to be different. Everybody's strategy is going to be different. We're talking about profitable traders. However, when you look at profitable traders, even though their strategy might be different, they will have similarities in their system, similarities in their psychology, similarities in their risk management. They typically trade in a neutral state of mind. They typically don't go on tilt if they lose a trade or two. You will see similarities in their psychology and similarities in their risk. They're not over-risking. They're not risking 50% of their account balance on a trade. They're risking a small amount on each one of these trades. So, that's trading. How does all of that apply to hearing God's voice? So, hearing God's voice, a couple of similarities to what we just talked about. Number one, it's not based on a formula. So I could tell you, whatever I tell you is not something you can just copy and it's going to work. Hearing God's voice is something you are going to have to learn for yourself. It is going to take time. There is a process, and like trading, it's going to involve improvement, setbacks, wins, losses, refinement. It is a gradual process that you will get better and better and better at. So that's point number one. As you embark on this journey of quote unquote learning to hear God's voice, understand you're not going to do it super fast. But if we apply the become 1% better, mantra to this today, you can become 1% better at hearing God's voice. Number two, there's discipline that should be involved with you trying to do this, going down this journey towards hearing God's voice. So, like trading, you can't be all over the place trading different sessions, Asia, London, New York, different instruments. No, you need to pick a session, pick a time frame, pick a instrument, and begin to become familiar with it and its nuances and its volume. Same with this. You need to pick a time where you're going to sit with God and begin this process of learning the nuances of His voice. If you're constantly distracted, it's going to be very difficult to do that. So find a quote unquote quiet time, a quiet place, a prayer chair, a prayer closet. The name doesn't matter. I don't particularly care when it is or where it is, but if there's distractions around you, it's going to be very difficult. So hearing His voice will be hard if there's other people around and the TV's on or the radio's on. It's going to be almost impossible if you're listening to a YouTube video. So although what you're listening to and doing right now is helpful, it is it's not going to be helpful if you're actually trying to hear God's voice for yourself. It needs to be quiet. That kind of goes along with limit your distractions. Things that you can hear are going to be similar to things that you can see, and those distractions will not be helpful for you as you are trying to grow in your discernment of His voice. Use a journal. You will basically write stuff down as it pops into your head in your journal. Write down your prayer requests, write down your praises, write down your questions, and begin writing down what you think might be things that He is saying. Initially, you will have absolutely no idea. But if you have a journal of these things, later on that day, maybe immediately, maybe the next day, maybe the next week, things will happen. God will, let's call them synchronicities. God will confirm something He said to you. You wrote it down in your journal later on, and it'll be the same word or the same book or the same picture or the same person, and you will know that you know that you know that, oh man, that's a confirmation. I heard from God in my quiet time. I wrote it down in my journal, and this is a neat confirmation that I just got. So that's one reason why journaling is very important. It gives you concrete proof that you can look back on from the previous day or the previous week and see where He was talking to you. Last little thing here about similarities. Like trading needs to be personalized based on your schedule and your personality and your propensity to avoid risk, etc., etc. And so your quiet time with God, it needs to be personalized as well. And how you do that, when you do it, where you do it, how long you do it, all of that stuff is going to be different than me. There will be similarities, kind of like we talked about before. The strategies are different, but the profitable traders have similarities in their psychology and risk management. So here, same thing. Exactly how you hear from God will be different, but there will be some similarities in how people hear God. And typically they involve a dedicated time, a quiet space, a journal, a pen, and they're going to be pressing in. All right, so the last kind of thing I wanted to share with you here on hearing from God is a few insights I have specifically about what that means. I don't love the phrase "hearing from God" because we typically think that it's like something you hear. It's an audible thing. Okay, it's not a audible thing that you hear. It is just another thought in your head. So, it's you. When you hear God, it's you. It's your thought in your head. There will be no distinction between how it, quote unquote, sounds. So you're going to be thinking about stuff. You're going to be thinking about trading. You're going to be thinking about work. You're going to be thinking about your kids. You're going to be thinking about things that you're interested in your quiet time here. And a thought's going to pop into your head. Whatever. It will be just like the thoughts. There will be no distinction initially, which is why people don't really think they can, or they don't understand, or they I don't hear God. That's because you aren't, and I'm trying to make this point, you aren't aware that his voice is one of your thoughts. So with that being said, you now need to shift just a little bit to once you understand that, you can begin this process of trying to discern his thoughts from your thoughts, which will be in this same stream of consciousness, in this same conversation in your head. And you will begin to notice nuanced differences with these thoughts. They make you feel a little bit different. They linger a little longer. You try to think about something else, but they come back to you. There will be slight, very slight and subtle differences between some of these thoughts in your head. Those are God. That is how you hear God. So there should be a light bulb going off in your head that you can do this. And once you get over this hump of realizing, wait a minute, it's just a thought in my head. Yes, it's just a thought in your head. So now you begin this quiet time, hopefully 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, 30 minutes. And in that time, I promise you will get an urge. An urge is a good way to think about it. You'll get an urge to do something, to pray for somebody, to go visit somebody, to call somebody. When you get that urge, it pops into your head, man, I need to go do this. I need to pull out some meat out of the freezer so it can thaw. Those initial urges, those creative thoughts, those are potentially him. And as you journal these thoughts, these creative thoughts, these imagination, these word pictures, journal them down. And later that day, that week, as these things begin to, pop up again, or you'll see these synchronicities, then you'll understand and realize, whoa, that was him, that was God. And then from there, it's just a snowball. It starts to grow and grow and grow and grow, and you get more confident in it, And it's just a really neat journey to participate in. And you will begin to look forward to this quiet time, not something that you just check off, check the box and you did it. No, you'll get up early and just hang out for as long as possible before other people start waking up and disturbing you. So I think that's it. Let me cut this video off. I hope that that's a little bit of a helpful insight for you about building a system for day trading, and metaphorically how that's similar to becoming better at being in tune with God's voice. All right, guys. So enough rambling on. God bless. We'll see you guys on the next one.